please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Sharp move coming in on the rupee, 72.50. So the pullback in a way continues, and it's putting some distance between where it is now and the day's low, which was about 72.90 or so. I mean, this looks like some. It's almost as if the graph. It looks like it's been pushed over and some serious maybe intervention. Who knows? Lata is here and she would know. Lata, afternoon. What are we looking at?
Good afternoon. Yes, this is a Bloomberg report which is quoting a government official as saying that there is going to be a weekend meeting which the PM will hold with probably government officials, and they will announce some package after that. This is all we have, government sources, and I think now we are getting it confirmed by our own people, and that's why now we are getting it as government sources. Initially, it was a Bloomberg story which quoted one official as saying that the PM will meet over the weekend, and that official said a rate hike is not ruled out. And now we are getting to hear more that in the economic review, fiscal and monetary issues could be discussed. Chances, I mean, I don't know, as you get towards the end of September, the third week of September, to hold a rate hike which could anyway come in October, I don't know how much the RBI will be convinced, especially now that the rupee has been kind of steadying at 72.5. It's a precipitous fall in the dollar. That is what the index is. The index shows how many rupees you pay to buy a dollar, and the amount of rupees you pay to buy a dollar has fallen sharply from 72.70 to 72.50 in the past 2 minutes since that news hit. But you must also pull up, okay, now, it's even cheaper than 72.50, 72.49. And now what happens, there will be a lot of exporters who will come and offer. This is exactly what those who were long on dollars were waiting for. Any announcement of a package, the package may come even on October 5th or whenever the monetary policy is. But the very fact that there is a package coming is reason enough for people to book out of their long dollar positions, which is what you're seeing. But since it says that a rate hike can't be ruled out, not that anyone ruled it out, but the government official saying it, look at the way the yield has moved. The yield is refusing to improve, although you have a fall in the price of the dollar. Because you're achieving that, possibly through a rate hike. Our own poll had indicated that there will not be a pre-policy rate hike. The rate hike will come in the policy. And of course, in the policy, it could be a double jump. But the point is, most people don't expect the 2 weeks before the policy to be used for a hike. They believe that the rupee is at its natural level and it's not really overshot. The PM could well not, talk about rates altogether and may simply speak about, say, import curbs on some consumer durables.
We have the RBI also, which is going to be part of the meeting?
I'm quite sure it will not be.
It will not be.
It will not be.
So
whenever the PM meets does an economic review meeting,
exactly.
There is a one-on-one with the RBI perhaps, but it will never be part of a Council of Ministers. Very rarely. I mean, during the Lehman crisis it was.
Correct.
But
no, so my point is fiscal and monetary measures not ruled out. I mean, because the monetary measures are within the ambit of the RBI. Right? I mean, so this weekend meeting may result in deliberations in terms of what to do, and that may be communicated to the RBI, the government's point of view, and then something may happen.
Exactly.
So
that is my guess.
Yeah.
That is my guess, because now rates are in the remit of the MPC.
Correct.
So there's no question of calling. First of all, you never see the RBI governor being called in a Council of Ministers meeting, or even in a meeting of the PMO with finance ministry officials. It would be, in all probability, a separate meeting.
No, it just says PM may hold high-level meeting. It doesn't say Council of Ministers. So that's why I asked whether,
we are just looking at sources, and we will try to get our own reporters on what they are picking up. But I agree with you. It's a review meeting, but PM meetings with the RBI governor are always one-on-one. It's never part of a large group, unless, of course, post-Lehman we had a few instances. 72.44, it's rapidly falling, the price of the dollar, and it's not getting reflected in the bond yields falling. See, after all, bond yields must reflect inflation, and as the dollar becomes more and more expensive, you expect more and more inflation. But in this particular point, despite the fall in the price of the dollar, you're not seeing bond yields falling, which means bonds are still not being bought, and that's because the rate hike could be the route to achieve that stability in the dollar. At least that's one of the tools that's everyone is looking at as likely
sometimes
to be
the
used. 40 now, 72.40.
Yeah, rapid movement. And sometimes the news that a meeting is going to be held to deliberate something is more effective than the measure itself.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
you remember the FCNR, the first speech which Governor Rajan had made on September 4th or 5th or whenever he took over.
Yeah.
And he had just contemplated FCNRB and stuff like that. But we already had gone from 68 to 63 or 64.
Correct.
Though the bonds were announced only by
Much
end of
later.
October, which is a good 2 months after this speech was made. So typically the people are holding long dollar positions will want to cash out. Right away, and especially exporters. I mean, I may never get to see 72 again. So people are selling. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that, 72.3. I think
so
we've lost about
40 paise.
40 paise fall in less than 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is the impact, rather than saying that the rupee has fallen enough, saying that we are going to take steps is usually very, very effective. And to be fair, it was the ideal time to make this announcement because bond yields at 8.2 are mouth-wateringly attractive. People were not coming at 72 because the feeling was it would go to 73. Then you've already lost a bit. But now, when you're coming at 72 and then you're getting an 8.2% on a very, very strong growth economy, I mean, this is a mouth-wateringly attractive. I wouldn't be surprised today if we have actually a debt-positive number from FPIs.
I mean, actually, we should put up the Nifty as well. So while this is going one way, the Nifty is going the other way. It's up 50 points now. So 11,335. Of course, I mean, a 50-point move on 11,300 index is small. The bigger move is a 40 paise move on the rupee. I mean, that is the real big one that we have to sort of take
Maybe
note of.
you want to look at all the IT stocks and they're not going to look that attractive now. And probably the rupee casualties would be the ones that will start rising now. So the Nifty composition also will start looking very different. But be that as it may, for the country
but that's
as
a
a
secondary,
whole,
second level kind of a smaller impact. The big one is the currency, as you've been alluding to.
Dramatic recovery that we're seeing. 72.91 at its worst. So now, as you say, it's over 60 paise that the dollar has become cheaper.
I think we've got some reactions. Do we? We should have a couple of reactions with us, and Lata will stay on with us. By the way, there was also, while this rupee sort of drama is playing out, we also have news on HDFC Life. I just saw a news flash. HDFC Life board meeting was today. And Vibha Padalkar, who's the CFO of HDFC Life, has now been elevated to the post of the CEO and Managing Director at HDFC Life. That is the news which was flashing. Maybe we should, there you go. She's been with the company for about a decade or so, and sort of, in a way, old HDFC group hand. Yash has been reporting on this. We put out this day before yesterday as the primary option which the board of HDFC Life may have considered, and that is actually now coming through. The stock is at the bottom of your screen, is around about 2.5%, but we'll see where that one goes. We should try and get in touch with Yash as well a little later, but let's get some reactions on the rupee.
As you said, even steps like removing the oil demand from the main market and asking the RBI to supply the dollars to the oil companies directly. Even a step like that can make a very big difference. It's just about doing
something, and in a way, sometimes just seem to be doing something.
The very act of saying that, okay, it's fallen enough, and now we are, going to do everything in our remit to stop the rupee from becoming cheaper. The very announcement of that intent was enough. And I thought more than that, the market was ripe for a correction. At 8.2, this is a mouth-watering rate
to lock in
from a country like India to get such a kind of a debt return.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was Raghuram Rajan Lata who once said the RBI should never put up all its cards on the table. I mean, it should have some... there should be
all governors keep it close to that. And I think the present governor does that beautifully.
Maybe a bit too beautifully, some would complain. But 72.38, the move is continuing. And we're at about 30 or 31 paise move, and what a move we're seeing as we sort of address that. The market is not really the stock market, that is not moving additionally incrementally. It's still at that 50-odd point level. So from the day high.
Their pain could well be the interest rates.
Interest rates, correct.
If you're going to correct the rupee by interest rates, then they have other pain.
Then the stock market doesn't like that. So we'll see what measures do come out, but maybe we can get Sapna with us on the phone line and get her too, because she's the one who's sending her the lines.
Okay, we've got Bhaskar Panda of HDFC. HDFC Bank. Bhaskar, what's the initial reaction? Is it exporters who are selling? Is it traders? What makes the dollar 60 paise cheaper?
I haven't seen exporters selling yet, but definitely it is, led by the traders, obviously. And the news itself is quite, quite a news. So that.
Okay. What do you make of it? What are you expecting?
See, there might be some rate hikes. That is something I can expect as a economics. Otherwise, I don't see anything coming right now. So,
anything other than, for instance, like we were discussing, probably removing the oil demand or, some other import constraining measures. What is the market's
on the
chatter?
contrary, actually, I heard that yesterday there was oil demand in the market. So if they take it out, it is well and good. So the demand in the market will come down. And see, the basic thing is that the speculative demand is has to be, arrested. And if that can be arrested, and if that is getting arrested, then you will see a fallback on the rupee. Okay. This was, as I had said earlier also, this leg of the rally has been, overextended for quite some time. So probably some breather here.
What have you made of that other statement which you alluded to? Will also discuss rate hike. Are you working, or is the market working with a pre-policy hike? I mean, it's just about 15 days perhaps, or 20 days for the policy. You expect a pre-policy rate hike? And is that in the price at 8.2?
No, I hadn't heard till a few minutes back. So right now, because of the news, only people might be talking about. But honestly, nobody was, preparing for it.
For a rate hike. Yeah, I mean, that's what our CNBC TV18 poll also indicated. No one was expecting or thinking that a good idea is a pre-policy rate hike. But the bond yields are nevertheless at 8.2. In spite of this fairly rapid fall in the dollar, you expect the yields to stay that way, or recede a bit?
I think it will recede a bit if dollar rupee, comes down. So definitely it will have an impact on the bond yields.
It's having the opposite impact at this point.
Lata, we have Anand Narayan also with us, but just look at the Nifty as well. If you can put the Nifty intraday as well, it's up 70 points. So that much awaited bounce is finally here, and it's riding on the coattails of what's happening on the currency, which is the dollar rupee. There you go. Sharp spike at about 11,355. Anand Narayan is also with us. Anand, thanks for joining in. I mean, you were complaining, I think it was day before yesterday, that we only get you on air when the rupee is, falling. It is rising, and we've kept our promise. We have you back on. Your thoughts? I mean, so the meeting is over the weekend. We don't know what comes off it, but what's your sense?
No, I'm glad they're taking some steps, or at least declaring that they intend to take some steps. The move has been pretty rapid, and a very, very sharp fall in the rupee is really not helpful for anybody, not for exporters, not for importers, not for the country as a whole. And we were right for a correction. So, in that sense, it's good. They will probably come with some steps like, as Lata was mentioning earlier, taking the oil demand maybe out of the market. Frankly, it's just the reserves being supplied by the RBI. But the fact that you're doing some, something around it, gives the impression that government thinks enough is enough. So that's good. But, the basic problem doesn't go away. So while, and we've discussed this in the past, RBI has plenty of reserves. We have plenty of, arrows in our quiver to combat the rupee volatility. But the core issues of current account deficit and the fact that our exports are struggling, the fact that our imports are too much, need to be addressed. Hopefully, alongside some, cosmetic measures, we'll also see some measures which help exporters and some ways in which we can reduce our consumer durable demand from imported demand.
We did a dipstick survey of economists for the current account, the trade deficit number for August. That should be due sometime in, I guess, the third week of September. And the number we got was again $17 to $19 billion. If that indeed were the case, Anand, would we have bought reprieve for a very brief period? Or do you think the market may say, okay, the steps will take effect? Can a second big trade deficit number be a big blow?
It will be a blow, Lata, but let's be realistic. Trade numbers don't change overnight. improvement in exports will take a long time. What I am hoping for, though, is normally imports are a lot more elastic to rupee depreciation. Hopefully, we do see reduction in imports come through first before we see an improvement in exports. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get $18 billion for August as well. But I do hope that as we go towards the next quarter, we will see a gentle correction happening in exports. Look, there is no immediate requirement that trade deficit has to drop tomorrow like a rock. As I said, RBI has plenty of reserves. There's no need to panic. We can buy ourselves a time for the system to adjust. But there has to be concrete steps taken to address this core issue of current account deficit.
Okay, but at 8.2, a couple of foreign dealers, as in people whom we spoke to, trading out of Singapore, an ANZ research expert, all of them were saying at 8.2 it's mouth-wateringly attractive. Would you say that we could now start seeing FPI debt flows?
So there's an old jungle saying, Lata, if a trade looks attractive today, it can get even more attractive tomorrow. So the issue is we still have a lot of milestones to cross over the next few months, right? We have a second half borrowing, which is extremely high. We have a fiscal deficit, which is going to be under stress. We know it, right? And we also have a political situation which is not going to be very clear. So unfortunately, there are plenty of imponderables over the future. And unfortunately, when you have financial stability questions being raised, interest rates will be the casualty. So, I think we will have to live with high rates for a while. Any correction we see in bond yields right now will, I think, be short-lived for the time being.
No, there is no correction, actually. It still remains at 8.2, 8.21, because one of the headlines put out by our reporters appears to be that monetary measures will also be considered. Are you in the pre-policy hike camp?
Not at all, Lata. First of all, we have a proper framework of MPC. A cabinet can't announce a rate hike tomorrow. And the whole logistics of trying to get an MPC off cycle is not going to be easy. If it's just 15 days away, there's no real tearing hurry. We don't want to show panic to the market as well. MPC will deliberate on this, I think, on the normal course. The policy hike coming through.
Okay. Now the yields have started listening to Bhaskar Panda. They have fallen a bit. So 2 basis points fall. We went up to 8.21 and now 8.19. Thank you very much, Bhaskar and Anand, for joining us. This is merely an intent to announce. Even if nothing came over the weekend, I don't think the market will see too much of a knee-jerk reaction on Monday, worrying that, they said they'll announce something. It's usually not like that. The very fact that something is being contemplated is enough to make a lot of trading bets, long bets on the dollar being pulled back. And the only other bad news can be when the August trade deficit comes.
Correct. No, I mean, if you flip that argument on the other side, I mean, you don't want the rupee to, today at least, right? Remember, there are 2 days left, right? Tomorrow is a holiday, but the fact that the meeting is only happening over the weekend, that also in a way suggests that they're taking their time. We will meet and we will meet over the weekend. It's not as if it's, they've scheduled a meeting for tomorrow. We had a cabinet meeting today. So a meeting could have been held tomorrow. If the government considered this to be that urgent a situation, the fact that it is in a couple of days, I think also sends that message that they're not in a state of panic. The flip side of that could be that, as I think Anand also pointed out, nothing has changed except the announcement that something may come out. So the market will is going to sort of check for weaknesses systematically. So you want the currency strength that we've seen over the last 15-20 minutes to stay and not start to dip once again, because speculators will try and do that as well. So we'll see. If the gains hold, but for now it's a solid 0.5% odd move in favor of the rupee. Ashwini is with us as well. Ashwini, we got that long-awaited bounce at the high. The Nifty was up 75 points. It's already down about 20-25 points from there. 50 left on the Nifty. Your sense?
Well, if it does not do anything else, chances are the shorts in the rupee and the Nifty, Bank Nifty should get shaken up a bit, because when governments act, you can really have a blow-off with a gap, etc. So my sense is that given you have the Bank Nifty expiry, important levels, plus, some anticipation of something to come in, we should close Nifty, Bank Nifty at the highs of the day, because shorts are sitting on a lot of money and they don't want to come day after tomorrow and be surprised. So that way, I would try to buy into this bounce. Maybe you could get a couple of good days based on this. But overall, my sense is that the much awaited correction may have started and it could last for a couple of days.